Welcome, precious one. Now in this tutorial we are going to look at Adobe Photoshop 2020, and then we will cover the tools here, and each tool is being backed by a red project, so it is not theory. Please kindly subscribe to our channel and share with your friends if you find this tutorial helpful. Thanks for watching.
So what we are going to do, like we said, we are going to start from the very basic, even without any experience. That is what we are starting from. There's no need for you to have any knowledge on how to use Adobe Photoshop. All that you have to do is just watch the video, follow it through, and by the time you are done, you know everything about graphic design. So if you are wondering how I get here, just go to File, go to New, then you select the size of your choice. So if you select international paper, you have the various forms A4, A5 and what have you. After everything, leave the resolution to be 300, RGB color, leave everything, then you hit on OK. Alright, so this is Photoshop 2020. Maybe your own, the interface will be different. It doesn't matter, just follow the video. The tools are all the same. So every design, whether banner or flyer, comprises of shapes. So let's look at this particular designs. Now this is a flyer. Now you can see that this flyer is what shapes. This is a rectangle. We have shapes. Okay, let's move on to the next design. The same thing. The next design. Good. So that is what we are going to start with. Shapes. Alright, welcome back. So as you saw on the various designs, it comprises of different shapes with colors and other things. So that is what we are going to start with. Now this tool is the move tool. So let's move downwards to this side. Let's click on the arrow here for it to give you the various tools that you have here, the various shapes, sorry. So let me use the ellipse tool. For you to draw a nice circle, press the shift on the keyboard and then click and drag. Now you can see that the color of this shape is white. That is why we are not seeing anything. So we will change it. Let me draw another one. And then a small one here. If you made a mistake whilst you are drawing, just click on Ctrl Z and then you are done. Great, so we have our shapes now. So let's change the color. For you to change the color, now after you finish everything, all that you have to do is come back to the shape, the move tool, sorry. So when you come back to the move tool, you'll be able to move all the things that you draw. So let me double click. Look at where the mouse is. Then let me change the color. The same thing. Let me double click. Now let's assume that this color, you like this color, but you forgot where you pick it from. So when you double click and this color palette opens, just bring your mouse here and then you see that it has changed. Just click on it. Then you realize that you've selected the same color. So that is the first step, how you can draw shapes. Now that we have our shape, the next session we will look at how we can arrange the shape well, bring in text and what have you. Alright, you're welcome back. So like we said in the previous session, now we are going to look at how we can beautify the shape if you can recall the images or the designs that I showed you earlier on. So we are going to make use of stroke, but before we can apply the stroke, we have to select that particular shape. So just click on it to highlight. But before that, you can see that our background is white. Now let me click on the background here and then go to where you have the shape, pick the rectangle, let me draw it, then I'll go back to my move tool and I'll adjust it. Now anytime you resize a shape, come to the top here and click on the max size so that whatever you did will be activated. Now when you come here, you can see that we are not seeing it different because the color is white. Let me double click. I told you about using the color picker. So what Photoshop, the software, does automatically is that anytime you double click to change the color, then this color picker will select for you the eyedropper too. It will be highlighted automatically for you. So it says color picker. Now I'm not going to select any color from here. Now you can see all colors, as you can see here, all colors have code. So you realize that when I clean the FF, which was the white, it has given me black. So let's assume that I want a different color. I have the code, so I'll just paste it. Now you've realized that it has given me the color. So you can copy the code and then you will paste it. So that is how you can also use the colors, change colors of whatever you want to do. Okay, now it looks as if they are almost the same. Don't worry, let's move on. So let's go to the stroke. Once we highlight it like this, come here where you have the FS, click on it and then you select stroke. When the pop-up comes, you realize that this is the stroke color. Let's change the color. And then you click on OK. It is too small, so this is the size, the pixel. Let's increase it. Good. So that is the color, the stroke. Now when you come here, you have position. Where do you want to apply the stroke? This is outside. Let's select the inside. You've realized that it has changed. So that is how you apply stroke. Now when you are done, click on OK. This is just the preview for you to know how the thing will look like. So let's click on OK. Now it's the same thing that we will do to apply to this. Now let me also say that in design, you see the stroke, it has added beauty to the shape, but at times when you use the stroke, you realize that you are not getting the design that you want. You want to use other things. Yes, let me show you the shortcuts here. I normally use it a lot in my design. Now you can see these ones are not stroke. Let me change the background color. If you want to change the background color, you see there's a lock here. Just double click to unlock it. Now it will give you this pop-up. Come to color overlay and then it has given us the previous color. If you don't want it, let's choose black. Then you click on OK. Good. So this is the first circle. Let me put it, hide it. Now if you want to hide anything from your working space, you just click on the eye icon here. So I just drew one shape and then I drew a second one which is smaller. So that is how I use. Let me turn all of them off. So you can also apply this trick to add beauty to your shape. Let's assume that you don't want to use the stroke. Let's go back to our previous work. So here, the stroke that you've applied to the shape. We have another options here, shadow and other things. Let me talk about that one briefly. The shadow is black. opacity. Now in graphic design, anytime you hear opacity simply means how visible you want something to be. So let's say 100%. Now you can see that the shadow has taken effect on this particular shape. Let me turn it off for you to see. Now you've seen that there's nothing here. When I click on it, it has come. Now the degree here, the angle here, this is 90 degrees where you want the thing to be. You realize that it has now come up, so you just adjust it to wherever you want. Now this is the distance. How far do you want the shadow to be away from that particular object? Now this shadow, I will not go over it again. When we in our subsequent sessions where we are on text, it's the same thing. Now the spread to how you want the thing to cover, and then the size, how big you want the thing to be. Now in graphic design, anything that you are doing, make sure you do it in moderation. Other than that, it will distort the beauty of your design. So to wrap up on shadow and stroke, here we have a lot of options. Blending mode, we have normal, dissolve, and what have you. Kindly play with them. The one that works best, you select it. So we will end this session here. Then in our next session, we will look at introduction to text.
Alright, you are welcome back. I'm sure you are enjoying the video. So in this session, we will look at text. So after you've typed in your text, you can see that there are some beauty over there. So see, when you click, you realize that it adds beauty to it. So I've just unchecked them. So let's start. Alright, you are welcome. So just come to where you have the T under the tools, and then when you click on it, you see that the cursor or the mouse will change. So just click and then start typing. So if you are using the Adobe Photoshop, let's say 2020 and above, as soon as you click on it, it will give you a dummy text for you to change it to whatever you want. Now for the sake of time, I have the text down, so let me paste it for you. Now the text is white and it is too small. So when the cursor is blinking, click on Ctrl A, select all, then let's change the size. Now you can see that it's up to 72. So in that case, you double click and then you key in the number that you want. So if it is 100, after you type it, just click enter, hit enter on the keyboard, and you get it. Now some of the fonts too comes with size, so you can see that bold, italic are also there, so you can select from them. Now let me change this font. Okay, now if you want to make this one to take effect, you can see here the mark sign is there. You click on it, or you use the enter key, you hit on it, or you can use that thing you see over there to send the thing back to where it was. So that is it. Now what I did, I just hit enter. So we are going to add designs to or beauty to our text. So that is what we are going to do, and then we are going to look at how we can modify this in our next session. You are welcome. So here we are going to add beauty to it. Now select it, go to FX, then bevel and emboss. Now you can see that this is the same palette or option we use for shape, the stroke. So here when you go, you select the bevel and emboss. Whatever you select, you can see that it is taking effect. If you can look at the thing carefully, it is taking effect. So you will just be adjusting and playing with it. Now make sure that whatever you do is in moderation. So when you are done, then you go down there, you can see the options over there. So you realize that when I change on the color, it is taking effect. So the angle and the degree, it works the same way as the shape, adding stroke. So when you select screen, it will lighten it. If you select normal, it will be the normal color. Multiply to make it darker. So just play over it and then you select the one you want. So go over the options, the one that works best for you. You can see that you have opacity. That is how visible you want the thing to be. So that is it. Now we can also change this color depending on what you want. So anything you select, you realize that it will be taking effect. So we have the highlight mode and the shadow mode. Just play along with it to add beauty to your text. So I'll go back to the white. Now let's see the stroke. Now we can add it and add it anything that you want. It's like the shape, so I won't talk much on it. So we have the outer glow. Go to the color options. You can change it from white to any color. Now as the thing we did in the shape is the same thing. You change the color, the spread and everything. So basically if you get the concept in the one that we did, that's how it will be. So we are looking at the shadow. Okay, so we are looking at the shadow, so you can see that let me uncheck it. Now when I check it, so in design is in moderation. You can change the style, whether normal or whatever. So just play with it and then you adjust it. This interface is the same as when we are applying stroke. So we can also adjust the text by using the anchor point. So when you hold it and you drag it like this, you see that everything is moving. But if you don't want to, just press the shift key down. Yes, the shift key down so that it will enlarge it. Then you click on the mark sign or you press enter. So you can also use this thing there that you use to modify the shape. So let's go up like this. Now you've seen that it has changed. Then if I also come down, that is it. Now if you want to have something like this and it's too big, just go and change the font. Then after that you click on whatever you want to do and then it will take effect. Okay, so we are done with adding beauty to our text.
Alright, so from the shapes up to text, the skills that you've acquired, we want you to design something simple and nice, catchy, like the words you are seeing. It shouldn't be I'm learning a new skill, it can be anything. But you can also do that one in a form of advertisement. Then you save it as a picture and you share it at our various social media platforms. As you are consistently sharing it, people will be noticing you, and by the time you are done, you will be getting contracts. So design something nice. You can put in a shape or whatever. Then you save it. You go to file, then you go to save as, and then you select as picture the JPEG, the first JPEG options. Then you save it. After that, you share it on our various platforms at Surf Brand Concept. You're welcome back. So, as you can see on your screen or on my screen, whatever screen it is. Okay, so that is what we are going to do, how we can bring in an image into our design. Let's start then. Okay, so for it to be easy for you when you are importing an image into your workspace, whether you put them in a shape or you want to you want the image to be below a text, whatever you are doing, where you want the image to be. Because note that in Photoshop, when you are doing something, the first thing you see background, then so it will be building upon it. Yes, if you want to do what you are going to do, clipping mask, that is putting images in a shape, just select that particular shape like this, so that when we bring in the image, it will just come right on top. Now there are two ways. Let's go to file and click and place embedded. Then you can double click or just click once and click open, whatever way it works best for you. So once the image is in, let's click on the max sign. Good. We want the image to be in this shape. So let's click on the image, right click and say create clipping mask. Then that is it. So all that you have to do is hold the anchor and then you drag it. Now in case you are using you want the shape, the image you are dragging to be nicely done in the shape, just press the shift down and then control it. Now let me use the other method. That one is the drag and drop. So we are going to use the drag and drop. This is the image. So I'll just drag and drop it. Then you click on this. So you see what I was saying. Now this is the image, the shape that we want. But where is the image located? First, so for it to be made, you have to drag it and come and position it on top of the shape. So that tedious work. That is why it's advisable, whether you are using the drag and drop or you are using the file and place embedded type, always make sure you select the shape and then you are done. So let me drag and then bring it in. So you either hit enter or you use the max sign. Okay, so we are done with importing image into our workspace. So all that I have to do is I have my text. Now you know how to bring in text. So let me make them visible for you to see how the design is. So this part is over now. How you can import an image in your design. Now let me show you one thing. Do you know that the clipping mask, we can also do the same thing in text? Watch the next session. Great, you are welcome back. So let's see. Now you can see that this looks very beautiful. Thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe to my channel. Yes, you know that is the deal. If you subscribe, you get notification for any video that we will release, and then it will also help my channel to grow. Thanks for understanding. Now let's move on and see how we can do this. Okay, so you bring in the pictures that you want to use as the clipping mask in the text. Now it follows the same rule like the shape. So I want to use this one on the time. So I right click and say. So all that we have to do is let's drag it and then for it to fit. So where you want the thing, the text, the image, the portion you want it to be. Now you click on OK. So let me do the same thing for the watching. That one is on top of the watching. Right click, create clipping mask. Now you just drag it. So you can leave it like this, or you can move on and add another thing. So anytime you do a clipping mask, note that when you click on the other shape or text, it is the image that will be selected. So if you want to make any changes, it will rather affect the image. So go to the thanks and then let's go to the FS, you know it already, and add stroke, only stroke. And let's do the same thing for the watching. So it's done perfectly. Very, very nice. Now you can see that at the background of this one there are some shapes. Yes, that one. So I drew two shapes. When you
go to shape and draw the polygon you want to use.
Great, you're welcome back. So moving forward, we are going to look at how we can remove image background whilst we are maintaining the quality. So as you can see here, this particular picture, it has no background, so I can move it. So that is what we are going to look at in this section. So let's start then. Great. So in Photoshop, we have a lot of options that you can use to remove image background. Now the first one we are going to look at the magic one. So let's right click on the image and then select rasterize layer. Come and click on the magic one and then click on the image ones. Now the magic one tool works best when the image has a uniform background like this particular one. So hit the backspace on your keyboard. You see that the background is gone. Then Ctrl D to delete everything. So that is how you can remove background of images that you've downloaded from the internet. So that is the first one. Now, what if the image has different background? For instance, this particular image, this vehicle, you can see that the background is made up of different things. So in our next video, we will look at how we can also use another method. Alright, you are welcome back. So let's rasterize it, and then let's try to apply this magic one and see. Let's click on anywhere. So you see, because it has different shades of colors, you cannot use the magic one. So let's move on and then select the next option here, which is the lasso tool. So with this one, when you click like this, you just move around the objects. Take your time. I'm moving faster because if I want to go by the normal pace, I will not finish today. So when you get to your starting point, you realize that the cursor or the mouse, there will be a round circle. So it means that you've reached or you've come back to where you started. Now you can see that it has been highlighted or it is selected. So you can see I can lift it. You go to the move tool, then you lift it. Let me send it to where the lady was. Then I will leave it like this. Good. So let me send it below the lady so that it will be behind. So that is the second method by which you can remove background of images. Now let me go to select and say deselect. So you've realized that the thing has been distorted. It happens because when I selected it, I was supposed to, when the thing was highlighted like this, just pick it once and send it. Pick it once like this and send it. So in this case, when you go back, it will still be there. So when you go to deselect, the image is still there. So that is another option. Now another tool is the lasso tool. There's three options. You can use all of them. Now let's move on to the pen tool. We use the pen tool to also remove background. It has a lot of options. So let's see. Now the pen tool to the same way. Now you can click it. Let's assume it was a curve and do whatever you want to do. Now you can see that with the pen tool, when the thing ends, it is still in the editing mode. Nothing has been selected. Now let me go back, right click, and then you see delete an anchor point. So if you click here, you can see that it has changed. There's a minus sign there. It will delete this anchor point. If you want to add, let's say that place is a curve, you want to add another one, go there again and click on add anchor point. So when you come here and you click, you see that to add it for you. So after you've selected everything, you trim it. Just right click on that object, and then you go to make selection. Click on OK, and then you realize that it has selected the thing for you. You go to the move tool, then that one too, you can move it to wherever you want to move it. Good. So that is it. Now go to select and deselect. Now the last option on how you can remove unwanted part of an image is the use of crop. So this tool. Now before you use this tool, make sure that the image is not on where you are doing your work. So create a different thing for a different working space, and you understand why. So when you crop the thing like this, then you click on the mark sign. So let's assume that this was at your working space. Where is it? It was here, and then you apply it. Everything will go away. That's why I said it's important you create another working space. Then you do your cropping and everything there. You bring it to your working space. So we will end this session here. I hope you enjoyed it. Pick any picture, try to change the background, and then you know how to bring in an image. You can bring in another image at the background. So that is where we will end this session. So in our next session, we will be looking at how to use gradients in our designs. So stick and stay.